Hello and welcome to round 22 oddities for the 2024 AFL season. And last week I said that might have been the best week of footy that we've seen for a very long time, and this week just proved me wrong. This week was amazing. It was so good to watch, and this was probably the best part of the week in my opinion, was the Gold Coast Suns comeback and then a kick after the siren to win the game. Mac Jon was doing his best ray gun impersonation on the weekend. Is he too old to make the Olympics in 4 years? With only a minute left on the clock, Hunt puts the ball inside the forward 50 for the West Coast Eagles, and Cripps is able to kick a goal, and they're down by just 1 point with only a minute left. The Eagles then get the centre clearance and Gaff takes a mark just inside the forward 50, but as we know he doesn't have the leg, so he kicks it what looks to be an attempt at goal. The ball goes down to ground, Oscar Allen gets the ball and kicks it over his shoulder. This is an extremely hard kick to do with a right boot over your shoulder going backwards, and somehow he's able to kick the goal and West Coast Eagles win. Crazy. I think we can all be grateful that Mason Cox wears something underneath his footy shorts. Otherwise, yuck. I don't want to see that. I guess this is the other side of the quick calls that the umpires are now being forced to do. This tackle didn't stick. Berry's able to actually fend off Green, but the umpire's been way too quick to blow the whistle and pay holding the ball even though the tackle doesn't stick. Toby Green gets the ball and goes back and kicks a goal, even though it probably wasn't a legal tackle, probably wasn't a successful tackle I should say, a pretty costly mistake. Another close game on the weekend was the Pies and the Swans, and I'd love to hear your opinions on this, whether you think this was a 50-metre penalty. For me, McCartan runs over the mark by an absolute mile. McStay hasn't run off his mark in my opinion, so there's no way the umpire would have called this play on. But I guess in the context of the game, the umpire is too afraid to blow the whistle, even though he's overran the mark by 5 to 10 metres. If this wasn't in the fourth quarter with only 30 seconds left, I think this 50-metre penalty is paid. And what about this one? As Fogarty's getting tackled, he actually handballs the ball down to the ground to, I guess, try to play on or get Jones called for a holding the man free. But the umpire's actually called holding the ball, which I think is quite strange because you see handballs that aren't handballs and none of them are paid. This one, he's legally handballed it to no one, so why was this a holding the ball? Just wanted to highlight this individual play here, especially from Narkle. As you can see, he passes it off to Rosie, who's able to go back and kick the goal. But in a team where you don't trust your teammates, he would have tried to run around and take a shot at goal. Possibly kicked it, possibly not. But a team that is fully in sync, this is what you do. You pass it to someone who's in a better position. So well done to Narkle for not being selfish and being a team player, spotting up the captain and going through, and I guess look at the score. This was a very important point in this game. Congrats to Darcy Fogarty for playing his 100th game. Well done to him. And after he's kicked a goal, I found this very strange. I don't think I've ever seen this in the middle of a game. After he's kicked the goal, they've rolled this montage of how he's kicked his goals throughout this year and from previous years. I just thought it was a little bit weird to have that rolling out after a goal has been kicked, and why this wasn't done before the game or at halftime or whatever. But why was this done during a quarter? I don't think I've actually ever seen that before. I think Josh Weddle did this last week as well, but as the ball sort of pinballs around a little bit, he's able to get the ball and he's running away from his defender, running towards the boundary line on the right boot from 50, and he just completely flushes this goal. This one was a little bit of a double oddity. Somehow Cozzy Pickett wasn't called for holding the ball after being tackled, after he had a little bit of time to get rid of the ball and didn't make connection with his foot at all. Apparently no holding the ball. And then after, it was very hard to determine between the Seagulls and the Port Adelaide outfit. Where did all these Seagulls come from? Did one of the Melbourne supporters get peed off that they weren't playing that well and just yeeted their chips on the oval? Why are there so many Seagulls? Talk about an absolute coach killer. After the Pies have kicked a goal, Nick Blakey has just seen Jamie Elliott running back and he's just completely cleaned him up right in front of the umpire. Of course, the umpire pays a free kick and kicks another goal. Somehow Bobby Hill has evaded 5 Sydney Swans defenders and not that many people putting a body on him. The ball bounces around, he plays onto his own kick and then goes through and kicks a goal. A brilliant individual effort. As the ball gets tapped down out of the ruck, Jason Horne-Francis tries to clear the ball, and unfortunately he's kicked the ball straight into Clayton Oliver's nose. Is that still considered a falcon? A little bit of finals talk, but the Blues look like they might be in a bit of trouble after losing to the Hawks, but also having quite a few players on the bench injured. There was a point in the game where they only had 2, and then I think they also just consistently getting hurt. Almost ended up with absolutely no one on the bench. Tough times ahead, Blues fans. I'm really starting to hate this insufficient intent rule when something like this, where Nick Dacos is clearly just trying to gain meterage or possibly even tap the ball onto a teammate. If this ball just naturally bounces out, then it's nothing. He's just trying to gain a few extra meters and a free kick is paid against. For me, that rule sucks. After the ball gets out of the back in a marking contest, Joe Danaher gets the ball inside the forward 50, probably 25 or so meters out. He has an open shot at goal, and of course it's Joe, so he just completely shanks it. Somehow Brian Myers has kicked this as he's on his right boot and he's just snapped it. Usually a kick like this would probably go a bit more into the centre. Somehow it's gone through for a goal, and this is an incredibly hard kick to do, but he's just like, oh yeah, just no emotion at all. Usually we see a little bit of showboating if someone kicks a goal like that. The ball fumbles down to the ground and Frampton does somewhat jump on top of the ball, but it looks like it's gone out of bounds. The umpire's completely blindsided and Fox has done the smart thing and just jumped on top of him and raked the ball back inside. Free kick to him. Umpire and the boundary umpire got fooled with this one. Somehow Phil Thorpe wasn't called for holding the ball here. As you can see, he almost breaks through a tackle and both hands are free. He's able to get a handball off. He doesn't. He's tackled down to the ground. The umpire still doesn't blow the whistle. The defenders almost just stop mid-tackle and he's able to get a handball away, and this is play on. This has got to be holding the ball. This one's a little tongue-in-cheek, so appreciate the sarcasm. But you can see Hayward doesn't really have control of the ball. So if you just fumble the ball, keep tapping it up to yourself, and then get tackled, it's not holding the ball apparently. He had plenty of time to get rid of this. He didn't. Just call it. What you're seeing on the screen is not a glitch. This was the stream for quite a bit of the Brisbane and GWS, at least the last minute. You can see that the scoreboard does move and the scores down the bottom right do move. So this definitely was live, but for some reason the video quality of the actual stream itself was just didn't move. Everything was frozen, which is what you expect after Joe Danaher kicks a goal. As an Adelaide Crows fan, you gotta love Ben Keays. The effort that he puts in after being dropped from Brisbane Lions a few years ago. He's just one of those players who just always puts in 100% effort. But when he runs, all I can see is Octane from Apex Legends. After the ball is cleared by the Collingwood defenders, it goes out of bounds and the umpire pays insufficient intent. Nick Blakey gets the free kick and he's a left footer as far as I'm aware, but he runs to the right to get around the defender, but the defender has to have the foot on the line. So as he's played on, he's actually out of bounds, so the ball has to come back for a throw-in. In the end, this was a pretty costly mistake. I thought this mark was awesome by Rayner. He somehow got over the top of Whitfield without taking a specky. Thought Whitfield had this one cleaned up, but Rayner's just way too strong. I thought this one definitely could have had the Benny Hill music, as the Hawks are trying to kick it through for a goal. Carlton are trying to stop it being kicked through for a goal. No one's able to take possession, and eventually it gets called for a ball up. I thought all players probably were thinking, I should have kicked that one. In the end, Tomlinson did mark the ball, but I feel like this could have been very bad as he's trying to keep his feet inside the field of play. But as you all know, it doesn't matter where your feet are, it matters where the ball is. So if he was on the opposite side of the goal line, he might have been able to put his hands up into the air to take the mark or to spoil it. Instead, he's standing behind, which then his arms had to be lower. In the end, he took the mark, so it doesn't matter, but this could have been an absolute coach killer when he could have just spoiled this through for a point. Voss got away with 2 fend-offs, very well done, and as you can see, he absolutely loves it, and he goes through and gives everyone a very big high five, and man, that would have hurt my hand. Also, well done to him for passing the ball off and not trying to take a bad shot at goal. And that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I'm hoping to have the final series videos up once we have the last 2 rounds completed. Be sure to keep an eye out for them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Code word extra.